I think we'll revisit that. We'll find a time to revisit that. I think it was a download. It's like a software that we need to now activate and now know how to apply it, get it running. Doctor, how was it for you? So we're blessed this afternoon. Some of us in the house yesterday were talking till about 2 a.m., if I'm right. I personally didn't sleep until after 4. And we're talking about this afternoon session. I think it's very strategic. And my take is, just as I mentioned to you last night, if you keep asking the question, how did we get to where we are as a country? How did things get to this state? If you don't know how we get to where we are, it's not only that you won't understand what is going on, then you're not likely to even be able to figure out and have a framework for how to get out. So we're privileged that we have 2 people with us this afternoon. This is an unusual intervention. This is not usually part of our consecration week. And we're being very practical about it. We have our own in-house person, one of our leaders, who maybe he will bring us direct word from the presidency this afternoon. He was one of the few wise men, maybe 4 wise men, that had the longest session so far of engagement, media chat or interview with the president on Monday. How many of you have seen the interview on TV? Let me see your hand. With the This Day and the Arise team. Okay, so we have our own NEB, Catalyst NEB, or Mr. Eniola Bello. He's the GM of This Day. So I've asked him to come so that after the presentation, it will help us to give some perspective before we go to the question and answer time. But the person doing the presentation is Tony Nadi Esquire. He's a friend, he's a lawyer. He has been in the struggle, and I don't want to preempt what he's going to do. Now, I've said to him, you are leaders, and many of you from different part of the world. We even have people from South Africa here. We have people from Europe. We have people from South, Southeast, Southwest, Middle Belt. So, who are leaders of churches. So, we want the facts to be presented before us. Then you'll be able to make your deductions. You'll be able to come to a conclusion. And we might even hear from you to what you think is best to be done by the time you hear those interventions. And I also think it will help us to pray aright. Ignorance is not an asset, it's not an advantage. If we're praying amiss, the Bible says we will receive not. So it's about the whole project called Nigeria. Where it started from, what has happened in between, where we are now, and what next. So help me welcome this great man. He's a fighter, Tony Nadi of the Lower Niger Congress. He's the Secretary General of the Lower Niger Congress. Did I say it right? Where's his own mic? Give me a mic.
Good afternoon, church. It gives me great pleasure to be in your midst today. As Pastor has said, in the Bible, there are two sets of people God put in charge of what should happen in the city. And he always turns around to hold them accountable for whatever everybody else does, including the king. The first are the priests, the men of God in the land, the prophets. And in those days, you discover that the prophets were always away from the city. Any day the prophet comes to town, the king is shivering. He wants to know why the prophet came to town. But we live in the age and time and place where our own prophets seem to be in competition with one another who will operate from the palace, not even next door or some distance.